In the last video, I reintroduced to some and introduced to others a book called Company of One. The subtitle, which you probably can't see this, says Why Staying Small is the Next Big Thing for Business. Now, I started recommending this book about 5 years ago when it first came out. It just resonated with me so well because now I've been in this online space, this digital space, this virtual world for 2 decades now. So I've literally been running a company of one or one person business, as some like to call it, for 2 decades. Um, and so this book resonated with me when it came out. And so I said, let me start sharing because when I got into the space, no one was calling it a company of one or and we weren't really identifying it as a one person business, even though it was, we didn't really have that language for it. But now, some years later, I can kind of now reflect and, I'm hearing all of this language about, personal branding and all of these different things that have come full circle. We used to call it the expert industry, the info industry. Now, uh, there's a big launch going on right now. Actually, I believe it just ended today. Well, it ain't ended because we know how launches go online, but today was the last day for the video, the 3-day event of Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, uh, their business model, which is pretty much the same thing. Today, literally from their launch, thousands of people have entered into becoming a one person business, meaning that they were taking their knowledge, their experience, or the knowledge and experience of others, or reporting on knowledge and experience, hobbies, their passions, and turning them into courses or coaching programs, cohorts. Um, but the industry has evolved such that what they were offering today is an all-in-one solution. When I first started, there was no all-in-one solution. It, there was no YouTube, there was no Zoom, there was no Facebook. All of these things were not in existence. And so even when I started, as good as the industry was then, there was still all of these things that we didn't know that we needed, right? So we worked hard to learn how to write copy and build websites, and some of my friends still do the coding and all of that type of stuff. Now, software, AI, you can literally enter into this space tonight, um, and have a one person business sharing what it is that you know, or sharing what it is that you're studying, or pulling in expertise and wisdom from other individuals tonight, right? That's the offer that you see happening from Dean Graziosi and so many others. They're not the only ones. I mean, this is the day and time that we're living in. And so that's why I'm leaning back into this, because I started doing this 20 years ago. Um, and I got those first notifications of payment received from selling a physical, well, it wasn't a physical product, it was a PDF document online. And the rest is history. So real quick, so my name is Brother Bedford. For those who don't know, I got to keep reminding myself that these videos, we get new people every week seeing them now. And so my name is Brother Bedford. I'm the best-selling author, creator of Conversations with Black Millionaires, and I'm the founder of the Masters of Business Network and Mastermind Community. And all of this is a one-person business. And it started 20 years ago without none of the technology that we have available to us today. And so the sales pitch that you're hearing, or that you've probably been witness to, if you're listening to any of these launches or any of the gurus, and again, I'm not knocking them and I'm not taking shots at them. It's just once you've been in the industry, you kind of know, and this is where the confusion comes in for a lot of people, is that, there's a guru over here, there's a guru over here, there's so many people, and they're teaching nuances of the space, uh, and it causes conflict where you say, well, is it webinars, or is it challenges? Is it event? It's all of that, right? That's why we wanted to introduce this book, because at the end of the day, it's about customizing this experience, this digital space, this online world to fit you as the business. I got to give Jay-Z credit. Many years ago, Jay-Z said, I'm a business man, right? And it was a play on words, but it was so true. And if you look at what he's done, he's the centerpiece of his business orbit, his business empire, his business universe. But it all centers around him being the brand, being the catalyst of everything that he's done. But it started in a specific space with a specific skill that he built up, and then he began to branch out. That's what we do in this online space. I started out, as I mentioned, selling $7, $10 reports online, and then I started interviewing Black millionaires and turning them into an ebook and digital products. And then we started doing courses and trainings and then webinars. And even before that, it was teleseminars. And all this is before social media. So we had to build gigantic email lists and all of these different things to have a company of one. So I'm kind of giving you an overview today because I got to unpack this. And it's going to take a few videos to unpack this business of one that you should be in. But I wanted to kind of say that the reason that a lot of people struggle, or you may even be struggling with this, is because you have to stop thinking of business as, big buildings, what you see on CNBC, with the big companies, what's happening with Elon Musk today, that's business, or all of the stuff you hear. Business isn't big buildings, billion-dollar businesses. It's not the stock market ticker. It's activities. Every day you're engaged in business. In fact, you're already a business of one. Even if you work for someone, all you're doing is, if you work 8 hours for someone right now, what you've elected to do is sell your time for whatever wages you receive, whatever income you receive, and you're providing them whatever your skill, your expertise is, whatever labor you provide. And that's your business, right? You're selling your time to someone else for a wage or a cost or an income. That's the same thing that we do. Is the model is just different, that we understand that we're business owners, that I'm the business. I own my own business. um, I am the entrepreneur. And I'm learning, or I've learned how to package and sell my experiences, or what I know, or my wisdom, or the people that I encounter. Going back to my big breakthrough project conversation with Black millionaires, whenever I speak, I tell people, I didn't write a word of those interviews. I just asked a question, and it was, pardon me, it was the millionaires who gave me the content that we put into an ebook that was sold all over the world. I built a $1 million network by myself, right? As a business of one, right? As a one-person business. I've sold my products and services as a one-person business. Now, I say all this not to say that that means you got to do it by yourself, but I just really, I'm trying to bust up the mentality that I see so many of us get, that wall that we run into, that we think that in order for me to get started as an entrepreneurial business, it's this big elephant that I have to tackle. No, you don't. That's the problem, is that you don't want to get started because you think it's this enormous task. I got to have a gazillion people. I got to do this and do that, and I got to sell this, and I got to be here, and I got to raise 250,000. All of that will come in time. The key is, can you get started where you are with what you know and what you do, your expertise, your experience? If you're north of 40 and you're watching this video, you have years of experience behind you, have years of experience on a job, you have years of experience to relate whatever you've overcome. If you listen to the Tony Robbins and Dean Graciosi's, the way that they present it is whatever you've experienced, if you've gone through a divorce, right, and you've overcome that, you can teach that. Now, I do believe that you can do that. You just have to find the right market that would want that product on how to overcome divorce and enter into a second relationship. So you see a bunch of relationship gurus out here nowadays. So speaking on everything from alpha males to what women don't like, what women like. I mean, you just turn on a YouTube channel, you'll see all types of experts, influencers, thought leaders in different spaces, selling their knowledge, their wisdom, their experiences, or the experience of others, or they're gathering in conversation and having events or sessions that they are charging for. And all of this is done, I don't want to say relatively easy, but again, as I touched on earlier, the technology that's available today makes it so much simpler to host events. You can have 20, 30 people on a Zoom just like that. You can start a Facebook group and get 100, 150 people in a group just like that. And that's the challenge, that it's become so easy that we're looking at having 5,000 followers and friends is nothing. That's a marketplace if you know how to extract the attention, the money and the value out of that audience, right? I mean, you have companies that are built, $1 million companies are built on 1,000, 2,000 people. And I know for a fact, some who are watching this video, you have thousands of people across different platforms. Now, of course, you have to organize the thoughts and who needs to be the audience that you need to talk to and what would be the product or the service that you would deliver. And that's what we're going to start unpacking in later videos. But I just kind of wanted to give an overview of the possibilities and what's happening today, because now the world, as the larger big businesses are changing, right? They're shifting. They're starting to become small. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to introduce this, because myself, some of my clients were students, former students, and even some friends who have literally got into this space years ago and have made millions of dollars doing this, taking our knowledge, experience, expertise, the knowledge, experience, expertise of others. And again, I'll unpack that a little bit later, because that's kind of the strategy people. I have a couple people who are in my inner circle, and they like to call it the Brother Bedford model. So I say, well, let me unpack this a little bit more on how I've built these tremendous relationships, how I've extracted the knowledge and wisdom of others and created programs and events that we charge for. So we want to unpack that. But those individuals who had elected to, continue to scale and grow their businesses and become large, over the past few weeks, I've spoken to quite a few people, and you can see it in the marketplace if you're paying any attention to the bankruptcies and the store closures. And 2020 changed everything. And so you see the downsizing, you see mobile work, remote work, all of these things come into place. And so big business has shifted, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so some of my friends, that was what they were. I won't necessarily say that they were complaining, but once you start scaling and building a business, you know, and you're way out here, it's not that easy to kind of shrink that thing and keep it under control, right? So those are what the consultations were about, is that looking at not having such large teams, not having such big ad campaigns going on and all of these things, and getting back to having a company of one or business of one. And again, not saying that they're not talking about growth and making money. If you remember, or go back to the video, which we'll put a link below, of last week's video, company of one does not mean you don't grow, and it doesn't mean that you're building your company by yourself. It's a philosophy of staying small, staying focused, but being able to build a company that gives you the time, freedom, money, and relationships that you desire, right? You control it and you question growth. You don't just grow for the sake of growth or scale. For I like that term better. You don't just scale for the sake of scaling. You organically grow, and organic growth doesn't mean that you necessarily get bigger. It could mean strategic partnerships and alliances that allow you to grow, but still maintain your autonomy and your peace of mind, which is critical, and have control over delivery of your message and products and services without it being corrupted or put out in the marketplace where people can do whatever it is that they want to do with it. So this video is kind of I guess it's a part two to the introduction to the book. But this is really part one because after I recommended the book, I said, well, let me kind of go a little bit deeper and talk about this concept and this idea of the one person business, because I literally have been running my one person business for over 20 years from my own. I went into an office in 2018, actually working with somebody else. And that really convinced me because I was like, well, maybe I can go in and work with some people. I like what he's doing and I can help him with that. It was a disaster. I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to my company of one. I'm going to go back to my one person business. And it was the best decision I've ever made because I can make more while doing less. I can do it all from the comfort of my own home in my own mob studios. As I have one client that I was talking to, I say, "Oh man, look at that background. You're just in your own mob studio there." And I say, "Yeah, show me how to do that, Brother B." So I said, well, you know what? Let me start unpacking this with these videos. And so this is kind of an overview. So, but the one takeaway I want you to have from this video, I know I said a lot, kind of all over the place. We're going to start streamlining the message, but I had to kind of just get it out of me and see if you're interested. So one, if you're interested in this, make sure you like the video, share the video, leave a comment below. Let me know if you want to know more. Of course, you can shoot me an email, go back and see the other video. But I wanted to kind of put it all out there to make sure that you kind of understand the concept of this business of one. If you want more time, more freedom, you want to work on what you want to work on, if you want to use or build your company or your business around your unique strengths, your gifts, your talents, if you're a writer, if you're very articulate in your messaging, the relationships that can be built. Again, that's been probably the biggest thing for me, to build these phenomenal relationships with millionaires and legends and icons and thought leaders. And again, all of this from the comfort of my own home as a part of my business of one, my one person business. And so if this interests you, let me know below and we'll unpack this a little bit more. But let me just give you that one takeaway that I want you to kind of write it down, because if you write it down, I think it'll start to sink in. I think you know it, but write it down so it can sink in, because now if you're not in this space already, now you have to have a paradigm shift. And that paradigm shift is what I want you to write down. And that is that you have to stop thinking of business as big buildings and billion-dollar companies. And even sometimes when we say the term business, people pop up in our mind, Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, right? So all of these things pop in our mind. And if you're looking at people who've been in business 30, 40, 50 years and created Amazon and PayPal and Tesla and all of these type of companies, then it becomes very intimidating and it's very difficult for you to get started building your business of one, your one person business, because you're thinking of Elon Musk and, man, I need to do this. And I stay close to an Amazon plant. Look at that facilities. You have to stop thinking of business as that. Business is nothing more than activity. Business is nothing more than what you do every day. You're surrounded by business. Somebody sold you the toothbrush, the toothpaste, the mouthwash, the egg, all of this. In fact, that's my motto: is life is business and business is life. They're one and the same. But we kind of it's gotten distorted when you look at the way that the business structure in America has been established, especially over the last 100 years. And the educational system has forced us to view business that way. And so therefore, when we view business that way, the education that we get is only to get jobs, right? And so now the internet is opening up a whole new educational paradigm. And so now we're learning about business in a new way. So if you haven't heard it before, I'm saying it now, is this we have to start thinking of business. First, stop thinking of business as that and think of your life as a business. Again, Jay-Z had it right. Jay-Z said, I'm a businessman, right? His life is his business. Your life is your business. And so business is the activities, the circumference or the sphere of activities that we're surrounded around. So if you look everywhere, everything you're utilizing is a product or a service from somebody. It came from somebody's mind, somebody's thinking, someone's activity. So now the shift is that now we have to see our lives as a business and what is the product and service that we're getting ready to put into the marketplace. And the fact that now Brother Bedford is sharing with me that I can literally be a business of one and do it from comforts of my own home if I'd like. You can have an office if you like, but you can work from your home, coffee shops, wherever, and learn how to do this and get those 4 words, my 4 favorite words. If you haven't heard me say it before: notification of payment received. By now, most people have received that in some form or fashion, right? You see new order placed, something you've sold online. Even if you're not in the business, you probably sold something in one of the Facebook marketplaces or something. You received some payment or you got a cash out for doing something. Now that's common. Now you just got to get serious about it. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Getting serious about your business of one, your one person business. So this is your brother Bedford. I'll see you in the next video. One person business part 2.